Mr. Spinoza, thanks again for being here. Prior to being and serving as the vice chairman at ADAPT, you've had 44 years of success in your industry, including being the co-owner and vice president of business development at East West Industries. And we've said how the federal bureaucracy can be very difficult, 94,000 pages of rules and regulations for businesses like the ones that you represent. Mr. Spinoza, in your experience, what are some of the unique challenges that small businesses encounter when navigating the Department of Defense procurement process?
Thank you, Chairman. The challenges are as have been stated by other testimony here, daunting. You run a small business, you do the best you can to get everything together. These regulations that come in, as I said, require attorneys to come in and help translate from legal speak to business speak and execution. And small businesses don't have attorneys on staff. It's expensive to do that and even bring attorneys in to go through this. And in the end, you're trying to figure out, at times, people come in and quote, irregardless of what the regulations have in place, they ignore some of the regulations, and the government doesn't pick that up. You need to be able to have the regulations readily identifiable and clear to the businesses so that they adhere to that and everybody's on a level playing field. That's really what it boils down to. Sometimes the businesses go through looking at it and signing on to contracts, as I said, that were onerous or have a lot of risk associated with it. And I'm going to put it in this kind of fashion. Sometimes you need to step up to those to be competitive and land the business you need to keep the business going, because when the big gorilla in the room comes in, they sit wherever they want to sit. And that's, the challenge to the regulation side of stuff. It's also staying on top of those regulations. My feeling about the regulations is a lot of them are designed to rein in large business. And large business has the tremendous amount of resources to apply to that. The small businesses don't. And that is almost, not that there should be two different. I understand where some of the regulations are going to regulate the industry, but the onerous part of it is just driving non-value added cost into the system. If we go to the folks at the pointy end of the spear, the warfighters, and ask them, how does this affect you? They look at that and say, what are we even spending money on this for? We need to spend it in the right places to get the right equipment, the right services, the right technology.
So small businesses like the ones that you represent don't typically have an attorney on staff to help chew through those 94,000 pages of regulations.
They do not. They do not. And, a side note, I worked in the time early on when everything was paper, and the books that we would bring in were huge to go look through regulations and stuff. Electronic maybe makes it a little bit easier, but doesn't change the issue of taking legal speak and moving it into plain language.
So when you have to spend money to hire counsel to help chew through those 94,000 pages worth of regulations, where do you pass those costs off to?
It's got to get passed back through the parts or, through the non-recurring costs. It's got to go somewhere.
So with the less than a minute I have remaining on this round of questioning, what's the best solution to that?
The solution, to me, is the regulation has to become more plain language. It is just too legalese.
And we're going to stick with cost. And Mr. Lipsky, sir, can you discuss some of the costs associated with a company like yours when you're bidding for a federal contract?
Similar to my colleague here, we spend a tremendous amount of time just qualifying for the bid opportunity without any assurances that we're actually going to be awarded that project. And I think that's what he was trying to say, is that there's just to get in to submit a price, there is tremendous burden and overhead that is not guaranteed to be recovered. That goes back to the corporation's overhead. I also do not have an attorney on standby, although the joke in my office is that she's the second highest employee within my company.
Thanks.